When is it too late to move to Australia? Is it when you're nearing the cut-off age of 45 for most permanent residency visas? Is it when your kids are of teenage age, and now they've got voices and opinions that you have to take into consideration? What if they don't want to move? You've got to tear them away from their friends? What if you've got job security, you live in a great house, and you've never been to Australia? What's going to tear you away? Well, in today's episode, our guests Nick and Jody are literally living through that. Is Australia going to live up to their expectations? How do you overcome the challenges of moving with older teenage kids? Is there anything that would make them move back to the UK? I guess we're going to find out. G'day, Nick and Jody. How are you going?
We're good. How are you doing?
Yes, I am doing really well. Really well. How are you enjoying the weather at the moment? And I know we always get onto this as British people talking on a podcast. Why did you go straight to weather? Have you been enjoying the heat?
Yeah, it was like hot yesterday. Now it's like freezing. Obviously got hoodie on now.
Have you got the aircon on though? Have you had to stick that on?
No.
No, but when summer comes, we've done a summer here now, so we know, we're ready.
Are you doing that British thing that lots of people did when it comes into winter, like you wouldn't put the heating on until October? Does that mean the aircon's not allowed to come on until then?
Exactly. We're making the most of that energy brand, Ross.
I think I might have spent mine already. That's really sad, isn't it? No, actually, tell a lie. I changed my rates and then they had to pay me the difference.
Yeah.
Because I was like, my direct debit went through when I was paying for it. And I was like, why am I paying such a big direct debit? And I checked and I was like, oh yeah, I've just been given about $700. I was like, unfortunately, I spent that somewhere. So, Nick and Jody, can you tell us about your life before you moved to Australia? Kind of what were you leaving behind? What were you hoping to find? What was Nick and Jody's life like before you moved?
Do you want to start?
Well, it's pretty mundane. Usual working every hour under the sun. Yeah, it's kind of a bit mundane when it is. We left obviously the family behind, my mum and dad. Sadly, my mum and dad won't fly. Well, I don't think my mum won't fly, so that's a bit of a tough one.
Is that because of their age?
She's never flown, so asking her to trek 22 hours on 2 flights that are horrible anyway is quite a lot. I think my dad would possibly come over, but yeah, I don't think he would leave my mum behind.
Because I don't want to bring up the age thing. After all, it is just a number. But I don't want to say this in a rude way, but you're not exactly our youngest guests that we've ever had on. So for everyone watching or listening at home, how old are you? Or how old would you like to tell us you are?
Well, age is actually very important given the whole visa situation, so I'm sure you're happy to share.
Yeah, so I'm 44, so I have got 1 month until I turn 45, which is the magic number.
Yes.
For the whole visa situation.
Okay, and are you the main applicant?
Yes, it's a funny story, isn't it?
The whole reason we came here was because I got offered a job here, but actually we ended up coming out on your visa because it was the quickest and easiest way to get here. So.
Yeah, so I'm on a skilled shortage visa, so a 482, but it's like a direct entry one. So it kind of means at the end of the 2 years, you're pretty much PR is guaranteed. So that's good. I think the only difference
I'm sensing a big but.
Well, no, it's not really a but. There was 2 different entries. There was the direct entry and the other one. But with mine, I had to do like a skills assessment. Obviously, we've done some videos on this about how I had to kind of go into an office and basically put my point across that I can do my job that I've been doing for hundreds of years. So, yeah, that kind of worked out well. And
what job do you do?
I am over here it's classed as a metal machinist, first class. So basically a CNC machinist. So I make stuff out of metal using machines and stuff. So yeah, it's on the skills shortage, which got us over here pretty quick.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, Ross. Like everything happened so quick. Like the job offer, we'd never been to Australia before, and then like coming out here, and we had a dog as well, and that complicated things to get here. And then since we've been here, everything's been pretty slow and steady. And then everything's happened quite quickly in terms of lodging our PR visa, which I guess we kind of knew because of your age that was going to happen. But it just feels like, I don't know, now we'd like settled down and got over like moving. Now it just feels like it's all go, go, go again.
Okay.
Yeah, so people that old have to like do things slowly.
Just taking it back a little bit, what were you leaving in the UK then? So I'm assuming you did metal machining in the UK. Whereabouts did you live?
Yeah, so we live down in the southwest. Don't know if you can tell by the accent. I get a lot of that.
Say tractor.
So yeah, left like stable jobs. I've been in the current job there for over 10 years. So kind of live fairly local. Yeah, obviously had our house over there. So yeah, it was all
What
pretty
kind of
stable.
house?
So we had a 4-bed.
Yes.
I remember it's been a while. 4-bed detached that we bought from you.
Yeah. I think the other thing is we both went from being in quite like senior jobs to come here to come to like not such important jobs, but we actually earn more money here doing less than we were doing in the UK. So that's a bit weird.
The whole thing, Jody, sounding like you had a pretty cushy life in the UK. I mean, it's making me wonder, why did you want to leave in the first place if you'd never even been to Australia?
Yeah, I mean, we always knew that we didn't want to live in UK forever. So our plan was actually always to emigrate to the States. So this was completely
We missed.
just out of the blue.
What made you choose Australia over?
It was literally because of the job offer that I got, and yeah,
It's a bit easier to get into Australia through the skills. I mean, America's a bit tougher to get into. They're quite stricter, if that's the way to describe it. Like, they did like the green card lottery, and the only country that wasn't on it was the UK, which is very odd, seeing we were like kind of close-knit allies with them. But
It does seem strange, especially considering how they bang on about immigration. And I mean, I think Australia's immigration policy is pretty robust. I mean, you can't really find a way to live here permanently unless you can offer the country something that's going to be of benefit. I know that there's a lot of talk about the migration process for students, but my view on it is, if a student can then fill a job role with a skill that is in demand, then why shouldn't the student stay if they want to continue doing that job? But if you can't do anything, sorry, mate, like, you don't deserve to come here. It seems strange then that if you can obviously offer something which sounds to be pretty in demand in Australia, why would you not be wanted by many other countries, really?
Yeah.
What do you do, Jody?
So in an office, but I'm like a director, so yeah.
And then obviously your job, is it a transfer through companies or just another company wanted?
Yeah, so I stayed with the same company. So that was really good because you get to keep your continuation of service and things. So
here's one thing, and I'm not sure if you might know the answer. I also have a friend who has moved to Australia on a 482 visa. He's a little bit on the older spectrum, but he moved through his job. And one of the good things is that things like long service leave, that will continue even though he accrued a load of time in Australia. So he's been here maybe just over a year, but he's only a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years off getting his long service leave because all of the things from the UK counted. Is that the same for you as well?
yeah, exactly. I think it has to be in your employment contract. Like, you either have to negotiate it or they need to be like good and give you it. Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Well, there you go. For anyone who is looking to move on a 482, transferring with their job, there's one little nugget of advice there for you. Make sure you can have your continuation of service put across, because I'm 3 years off getting my long service leave, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm looking to stay in the job that I'm at, because we never got anything like that in the UK.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, it's crazy how long you have to wait for it, right?
Do you know what? I've never really done 7 years at the same company or the same school, but having that carrot dangled out in front of me, I think I probably would have stayed a little bit longer. 5 years was pretty common. I probably would have hung around for another 2, knowing that, they were going to give me pretty much a whole term off. I'd take that. It's worth the sacrifice. What was the tipping point then that made you decide, do you know what? Don't want to go for the States anymore. Let's go to Australia.
I think it was just like, we're never going to get this opportunity again. It's absolutely bonkers, but should we just like go for it? And we were lucky enough to come for a recce trip before we actually moved out here. And I don't think we probably would have had the guts to come here permanently had we not done that, because it just would have been too big a risk, I think.
What about the recce trip made you think, wow, yeah, Australia, this for us?
I think it was just everything. The
I
weather.
think we were stood on the Gold Coast. We were down on the Gold Coast, down near Tallybudger, I think. Just stood on the beach there, looking around, and it's just like, wow, we could literally like live in this country.
Yeah, and you're sensible. Like, you tell yourself, like, don't think of this as a holiday. Like, you know, when you come here, you're going to be having to go to work and stuff. So you have to be really sensible about it. I think we just, you know, worship the sun. We got out of the UK as much as we possibly could to go on holidays abroad. We just, yeah, we were just like, okay, this is a great opportunity. We've really enjoyed the 2 weeks that we were here, and we've not really got anything to lose. And if it doesn't work out, then we just come back. So let's go for it. And yeah, it was crazy, but a good move.
Have there been any unexpected kind of hurdles or even some kind of pleasant surprises with you moving over?
I think so. I can't think of anything.
No, it's nice. Our kids are actually happy here. That was one of the main kind of hurdles we were going to worry about, because they were worried they weren't going to like it, and you know they've got all friends back in the UK. Why would they want to leave? So yeah, it's nice now that they're kind of settled here, which is the pleasant bit.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that probably was the only hurdle, because we really loved it, and they were a bit like, we miss our family, we miss our friends, we want to go home. So
yeah, it was literally like the first probably month, 2 months as soon as we got here. It's just like, oh, my friends are missing me. I want to go home.
Yeah.
Have we done the right thing?
14 and 18.
Wow, the troublesome time.
Yeah, we picked the right age for that one.
I don't think I've had anyone on here with older teenage kids. Most people, pretty much all the people that we've had on here, they're young families like mine. You know, kids that are barely at school, or if they are, they're in the first, definitely not out of primary school. So hearing things like, you know, they're on their phones, struggling with the time differences, still getting the messages, oh, miss you, that kind of stuff. Are they girls, boys?
2 girls.
2 girls. Yeah, I've got all of this to look forward to. What made you convince them that, you know, you don't need to go back for your friends?
Well, we hear from them that when we came on the recce trip, they planned between them to make it as terrible as possible because they didn't want to come. And then we found out that they actually had such a great time, they hadn't been able to, like...
I think they were disappointed they didn't sabotage the trip.
Yeah.
What was in their sabotage plan? Did they reveal that?
They're just be miserable all day, like instead of being teenagers, they've been moody teenagers times 2. So yeah.
Have they ever seen Kevin and Perry?
That's true. That's what happens. 1 minute you're talking to them in the kitchen, next thing Kevin comes out saying he hates you.
Yeah.
A lot.
But yeah, I do remember, because Nick and I flew out separately when we came here, and I flew with our youngest, and Nick went with our eldest first. And I just remember her sobbing her heart out on the plane because she was crying. She didn't want to come, and she left her friends, and the air hostess was like going to me, is she okay? And I was like, yeah, she's okay. She's just a bit sad.
I'm not bringing her here beyond will.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, I think that probably was like one of the, now we'll start talking about it, obviously was a big hurdle, but I think maybe because it's been such a long time since then and they're happy now, you kind of forget a little bit. But
what tips or advice do you have for people that have older teenage kids and are looking at moving? How do you convince them?
I think they have to give it time. Our kids definitely needed time. They needed time to make friends at school. They needed time to make friends like in social clubs. I think tearing them away from their friends on their phone on social media at stupid hours of the night, like that takes a while for them to stop that. And yeah, I would honestly say just time, like give yourselves time, give your kids time, and don't put pressure on like any of you.
There's a lot to ask of them. Obviously, they're just literally ripped out of the country. Next thing you know, you're thousands of miles away with, you don't know anybody. I mean, it's kind of helped where they've integrated into some clubs and stuff. So one plays soccer, one does netball. So they've kind of like met groups of friends like that, which has kind of helped a lot.
Have they found any kind of friends from any unexpected places that you didn't think they would?
Well, the 18-year-old has found the valleys. Or the valley.
The valley, like Fortitude Valley. Not the valleys like in Wales.
See, I'm way too old for this, Ross. I have no idea where it is.
Have you not been out in the valley yet?
No.
You'd love it, Jody. Nick should take you. Go this weekend.
I have to be in bed by 9 o'clock, Ross.
Do you know what? Saying that, there is a thing. It came up on my phone the other day, probably because I was on a train through the valley. I went to go watch the Broncos, and it's like an over 30s clubbing thing. They play, it's in the valley. I'm not quite sure what the venue is. And they play music from like 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Guaranteed that they'll play something you like. But, and this is the big but, they guarantee you to be home by bed. It's called something like Be Home by Bed. So it ends at 10 o'clock. It goes from like 6 till 10. It's only over 30s. Do you know what? If someone had said to me, they do these events for over 30s when I was 18, I'd be mortified. I'd be like, what is that? Why do old people want to go to something like that? How old and rubbish are they? Now, I saw it on my phone. I was like, that is a bloody good idea. I'm going to tell the wife. So yeah, the valley isn't as bad. Well, it's pretty dire, but it's not as bad as you think. What's her favourite place in the valley? Has she told you yet?
There's somewhere called the tax office.
Yeah.
Apparently it's pretty cool.
On the Met? Is it the Met?
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
The funny thing is, she rocks up at like 4:30. So she comes home at like 4:30 in the morning, and her arms are covered in stamps. So I don't know if you've hung out in the valley much, Ross, but it's different to England. They don't hand out flyers and stuff. They basically stamp everybody. And so it looks like she's been out and then got like 20 hideous tattoos overnight.
Don't ask her as well how much she spent, because to get a stamp to get in, a lot of the places you might have to pay.
Yes. Well, apparently they go when it's like early and they get free drinks and a stamp. And then apparently they all go back to someone's house and then they go back out again at like midnight or something. I don't know. Times have definitely changed since.
To be 18 again. I'm quite happy to be back by 10. Cup of tea in bed. So you talked before about your jobs. You've moved from reasonably senior positions and now you're getting paid more money for doing kind of less work, I assume. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that kind of, I guess, step back professionally?
I think, probably not less work, but maybe less responsibility, I would say. So I think, that's one of the things that we came here for, was a good work-life balance. And I definitely, because you do shifts and you sort of finish every day at about 2:30, so you definitely get to sort of enjoy every afternoon.
Yeah, I used to like shift work back in England, so I used to do like 6 to 2 and 2 to 10. So you kind of like you either had the morning or the afternoons yourself, whereas now I can have the afternoons, which is nice because it's pretty much nice outside. Yeah, it's been a bit weird. Obviously, like you said, senior positions, and now I've kind of had to like start again, like the new boy in the factory. Whereas before I was like top of the chain kind of thing. It's weird. Obviously being quite old.
I felt exactly the same when I first moved. I was sort of middle leadership in schools, came and just took a part-time job to kind of get my foot in the door and start to earn some money. And I've kind of gone full circle with it, because I then started picking up additional positions with responsibility, then went into senior leadership, and I just kind of decided, like yourselves, this isn't really what I've moved here for.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think that people that move to Australia trying to chase the career, you can do that anywhere within reason. You don't have to do that in Australia. There's lots of arguments that some people have about it can sometimes be more difficult to get in with Australian companies and with Australian crowds. You're British. Are you ever really going to kind of fully fit in? There's that risk, isn't there?
Mm.
I'd say if you want to do it for your career, just stay where you are if you think you can advance that career there. It's definitely more of there has to be something else if you want to make moving here successful.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you have to remember what you came here for.
Is there an experience in particular that's made you kind of think, wow, this is Australia for us?
It's just more, it's the outdoorsy stuff, isn't it, that you can enjoy more, I think, has definitely helped.
Yeah.
Whereas you get home from work and it'd be raining, you're like, this is depressing. I've just been to work all day. Oh, look, it's raining again. Yeah, or it's dark, yeah. Whereas now you can have a wander down the beach, taking the dog out is a lot easier instead of getting covered in mud, going through the fields and stuff.
Mm.
How do you find, though, the kind of constant dark time? Like, that's really bad English. It gets dark anywhere between 5 and 7, and that's the basic fluctuation. Whereas in the UK, we get those really horrible short days, but then summertime it can be getting dark, twilight can go until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of people miss. How do you find it?
Well, we went back in June and we'd actually forgotten like how light it stays. So yeah, we were like, oh my God, this is like really good. Not enough to make us want to stay back in UK, but just, yeah, it's weird the things that you forget. But I honestly, like every single day, I feel grateful to be here. Like I'm always taking pictures of sunsets. I'm always like listening to the birds, and like I don't ever want to forget how nice it is to be here, because you can't hear all them birds back in England. You can't take all them pictures of all the sunsets, and I don't ever want to stop being grateful for being here.
Absolutely. What's your favourite outdoory thing to do?
Oh, we like the beach, don't we? Typical.
What are the because you're on the south side, aren't you?
Yeah.
What
We're
are the
in
beaches like
West
down there?
Yeah, they're just nice. They've got like a off the leash dog beach, which is ideal. So just literally let your dog shoot off up and down the beach, where you can go and stand in the water. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the Gold Coast sometimes, and yeah, obviously it's really nice up there. We don't spend so much time up there because it's difficult having the dog. You don't want to leave her for too long, but yeah, we really like it there, and Sunshine Coast. But yeah, we've still got lots of exploring to do.
Well, it's a bit of a mixture, this one. So she's a mixture of an English Springer and a Husky.
Wow. How does she find with the heat?
Yeah, she's all right now. But when she first landed, she still had her kind of winter coat on. And obviously she landed in November.
Yeah.
So it's like stonkingly hot, and she's there, wants to try and take her coat off, but she can't. It's like it was proper thick, because obviously she'd come from winter time, or to start of winter.
Do you find that they have lots of dog groomer services here? Have you used one yet?
We haven't used one, but yes, dog grooming is a thing.
It's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And dog sitting and dog washes, and yeah.
Yeah, we've not used the dog wash yet, the private or the public one where you can wash your car and do the dog at the same time.
I use my one, 2 reasons. The first one is I feel like I'm supporting a local business. And the second reason is it's all there. Like, it's just so easy. They go in, because my dogs hate getting washed. So you just clip them in. They can't escape, although they bloody try. And then the hose, you've got like a little dial on our one, and you can just flick through the different stuff. So like, a pre-wash, then a rinse, then it's got all like the conditioner, flea and tick stuff, some disinfectant stuff. They come out smelling awesome. I get at least a week of them smelling okay before they go and roll in something they probably shouldn't do. I'm not that flush with the cash that I can afford a dog groomer, though.
Yeah.
But then mine don't have fancy hair. They don't need it getting cut.
You do see them like tow them behind their cars. You got like a big, massive. Sometimes it could be a big dog, like you see out of Dumb and Dumber, like the big dog van they have.
Some of them have air cons on the top as well. They're living in luxury. So it sounds like your girls have settled in really well. They've overcome that hurdle that I suppose most teenage girls would have of meeting new friends. What about yourselves? How have you gone about meeting new people, building your own social circles? Have you had any challenges with that?
So social media has been great. Before we came here, we made some friends via social media, and then we met them on our recce trip, and then they're still sort of friends of ours now. We have our YouTube channel, and we've met up with a few people from there, like subscribers and followers on Instagram as well. So that's been really nice to have them conversations and then meet them in real life, and you be able to help them with their journey. And yeah, I would say social media has been definitely a big thing for us, because otherwise we're always at work, so the only people we really see are each other or our work colleagues or our kids or the dog. And so yeah, I think that's been a big thing. You play football, don't you?
Yeah, so like you said, back the club things, soccer, but if you say footy over here, they look at you funny.
Yeah, it's a different shaped ball, mate.
Don't like those balls. Yeah, joining that has kind of helped as well. We kind of meet quite a lot of people that way. So that's always a bonus thing. Yeah, work colleagues is kind of obviously you see them every day. But yeah, like I said, social media was the big one for us really. Cause
what's your YouTube channel for anyone that's also looking for help and assistance on moving to Australia? Great emigrate. If you want to know what it's like living in the southern side of Brisbane, I don't know why you want to live there, but yeah, I'll definitely put a link to their channel down in the description. What kind of topics have you covered so far?
A few things, haven't we? We started recording like literally at our recce trip. So we recorded that as our very first video. And then we were literally, we came back from our recce trip and we were still in the UK for about 8 months because that's how long it took to get the dog from UK to Australia. So in that time, we were just recording loads of videos about the things that we were doing to like prepare to come, selling things.
Move to like 7 Seas and stuff like that.
And then, yeah, obviously when we arrived, we were just, we've just filmed everything.
Awesome. Because that's one of the things that's lacking from my channel is that I only started when we literally moved here. That was literally video number 1. There's some other videos on there that some people may have seen, but are now not available when I was testing out how to make videos on YouTube. And I was just in quarantine. No, I wasn't in quarantine. We were all in lockdown, weren't we? And I was just, it was basically me going to the shops and stuff.
Yeah, you were like the first person we were watching on YouTube, weren't you? It's your fault that we are where we are now.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry,
when
mate.
we came back from our recce trip, that's when we started like following people on YouTube and stuff and yeah, definitely you guys were the ones that we would be in bed every night. Ross has got a new video. Yeah.
Sorry. That's all I can say. What made you have to go back to the UK then? Because I've been here for nearly 4 years and I haven't been back.
I think because your parents can't come here, it's important that we go back there to see them and for the kids to see them. So we still have our house back in UK as well. So we're still trying to like get rid of things. It took Nick 3 days to clear the garage when we were back in June.
Your life's kind of collection of every tool you need, every little bits and bobs. And it's just like, I've got to go through this in like 3 days. It's crazy.
I was just ruthless with mine and just bin or come get it for free. You can't do it in an easy way. There's no nice way to do it.
Yeah. So we've still got a lot of things to take care of and get rid of. So, but obviously...
What are you doing with your house?
Well, when we get our PR, we're going to sell it. But yeah, until then, we're just keeping it just because I can't bear to give up my security net just in case something goes wrong. Or...
Are you renting it?
No.
It's just there. You still having to pay a mortgage?
Yeah. So when we went back, it's just literally like rocking back into your old house. It's like, oh, the sofa's still here, the telly.
Turn the heating on.
Well, that's the
it's
funny
June
thing.
though, wasn't it? Yeah. Let's hope there's no damp spots somewhere because it hasn't been on for ages.
Well, we thought that Nick's parents had left the heating on because we were so used to like Australian houses. When we went back in June, we were like, it's so hot because of carpet, curtains, brick walls.
Properly insulated, aren't they? So it was like walking around testing all the radiators going, no, they're cold. Why is the house so hot?
You must be doing well then to be able to afford renting here and your mortgage back in the UK.
I think we have sacrificed a lot to be able to juggle both. So yeah, like we definitely have been very strict on, doing nice things. And, I know we went back to the UK, but it wasn't really a holiday. I worked most of it and it was about like selling things, getting rid of things. So it wasn't really like a jolly. So I think we definitely sacrifice things to be able to have that balance. And we really look forward to getting our PR, selling our house, and then being able to have a bit more money to be able to do some nice things.
Treat yourself, mate. Treat yourself. Talking about then the finances and the cost of living, everyone seems to be talking about cost of living pressures and challenges. For you, considering you're paying for 2 lives, really, how have you managed to do that with the cost of living pressures that we have?
Beans on toast, Russ, remember that?
Yeah.
So I think we try and be careful. We, don't do the things that we did back in UK. Like we'd always be out shopping or at the cinema or going places. So like those are the kinds of things that we don't do here. But then I kind of feel like because you've got the beach on your doorstep, because you can do so many more things for free outdoors, like the kids don't miss doing them things that we were doing in the UK because there's other things to do here that don't don't cost money.
Yeah, and the 50-cent travel is helping at the moment.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I think that's even just listening to how you talk about kind of your end goals. You know, yes, you've got your house back in the UK as a safety net, but you know when that's going to kind of be given up, and it's just great to hear people having that focus of this is where we want to get to, so this is what we have to give up in order to be able to do it. I think a lot of people, they don't really have those kind of plans or don't have that vision really as to, well, where is it going to go, especially for people whereby they don't get the permanent residency visa straight away, and that whole moving process is so much more of a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like short-term pain, long-term gain.
Everyone's going to have...
The weather obviously helps. It's nicer, so it doesn't make it so bad, does it? Instead of being sat indoors, it's miserable.
Yeah. I was chatting to some previous people on the podcast, and one of the things that we said was have your motivation for moving here always at the kind of, preferably the forefront, but always somewhere in your mind, especially when things get tricky, because they will inevitably get more difficult.
Yeah, I think you have to stay focused. And, you know, for us, like this wasn't really something we chose. It was like a gift. And so, but even though it was like a gift, like it's still, now we know it's something that we really want, we really enjoy. So it's a bit weird in that sense. Like, I feel like, I know some people have wanted to come here for so long, and I feel a bit guilty, I guess, sometimes, because I feel like it was quite easy for us to come here, and we've been really lucky. And I know that it's much harder perhaps for some people. So yeah, I think you just need to really appreciate what you've got and be grateful.
If you're going to take the opportunity, definitely take it rather than just do it half-assed.
Yeah.
Well, kind of looking back now, we kind of do wish we'd done it when I was younger. Obviously, it's harder with older kids because obviously you've got the school factor then with relating to the visa process as well. Like, because our eldest is now 18, she does kind of count as an adult. Whereas before, obviously, you can get kids in fairly easy under like the family unit. So you've had to kind of prove that she's a dependent still. So it's tricky things like that you've got to think of if you're coming over with older kids.
Yeah, and
I think the easiest way to do that isn't it to do with like education if they're still studying?
Yeah, so education was a tricky one for her because if she wanted to go to school here, she had to go back 2 years because they didn't recognise her qualification at her age, and she just obviously, well, she was 17 then, so she didn't want to go back into a classroom with like 15-year-olds. And we even looked into like paying privately for her to do like the same course at college, but it was going to be the same scenario. Like she would have to be with like 2 years back. So that just wasn't an option for her. So she has been like working part-time and doing a bit of sort of studying online. She's looking to do like different courses and things. So in terms of us being able to evidence that she's a dependent, she definitely is. Maybe if she curbed her valley habit, she wouldn't be so dependent. But
well, that's why she's got to go to work to earn all the money so that she can keep going there.
So yeah, she was definitely a bit tricky, but I think despite that, she's not one that wants to go to uni. And I think nowadays you don't have to go to uni straight after school anyway. There's lots of options, later on in life. So yeah.
There's plenty of vocational options that they can do. As you know, Australians love it for you to have the right ticket to be able to prove that you can do the trades that you want to do. So perhaps further down the line, that's something that she'd want to look into, get an apprenticeship or something like that.
Yeah.
Has there been any other kind of things that you found that were a little bit tougher than expected?
I would say coming out separately, I found that so hard. We were only apart for like 3 weeks, but it was honestly so tough. So I think if we would do anything again, I mean, you probably love the peace and quiet.
The cycle, off.
But I hated it.
Yeah, it was tough. Obviously, I'd arrived with the eldest, and it's just, I'm in a country I don't really know the lay of the land, how things are going to work out. So I kind of like fumbled my way across and managed to find a rental property. So yeah, that was kind of tough. Obviously, obviously you can't really rely on a 17-year-old to know what we're going to do next. Not really up for playing like games on my phone or whatever.
Well, if you've not been put off by moving to Australia and this has actually inspired you to want to make the move yourself, then I'd best tell you about the sponsors of our podcast, True Blue Migration Services. I could sit here and tell you about how fantastic they are, their near 5-star Google reviews, the thousands of people that we've been able to help just through this channel alone, but actually I'm just going to tell you what's in it for you if you want to see how good they are. If you're in the very early stages of your move and you don't even know what visas are appropriate for you, then straight away, if you contact them and mention us, you're going to get a free visa assessment where they're going to tell you exactly what's available to you to be able to move to Australia. And once you've sampled their service and how fantastic they are, because you've mentioned us, you're also entitled to $200 off the cost of your visa. I don't know anyone else out there who's rabbiting on about how wonderful Australia is that can get you money off your visa and allow you for free to trial out some of their services. So once you've listened to the rest of this podcast, check out all of their details in the description below. And you never know, these could be the first few steps on your journey to Australia. Have you got any, other than the not leaving it too late, wanting to do it early, do you have any other regrets about your moving process?
I would say we underestimated how much stuff we wanted to ship over. So I think we had like a medium move cube and
Should have got like a whole boat, I think.
Do you not think that maybe, all your stuff's there, you've not used it for a long time now, you can just go, no,
I think there was an element of that. So when we went back in June, we definitely got rid of so much stuff that we hadn't got rid of just because, I don't know, some of it, I'm a hoarder, honestly. I keep everything. So I think you have to be a bit tough with yourself when you're coming on this journey. And I think when you know that you're leaving your house back in the UK, it's all very easy. You're just lock the door, leave, and then you're like, oh yeah, that was really easy now. But when it actually comes to selling it, that's going to be a bit of a pain and a faff because it's still there, it's still full of stuff. My car's still sat on the drive at home because I was using it up till the very day that I left. Yeah, all that is a hassle. So we probably should have done that a bit differently. But
you must have lived in a good area as well that your car's still there.
Well, the thing is, sorry, car, it might be someone else's now. It's been so long. It's the same.
I don't want to, make it sound any worse than it has to be. With the whole bit of the moving process, I found that just getting rid of everything and just consolidating your life into suitcases and a few boxes, that I think was the hardest bit for me. Just with effort as well, even to think to yourself, just having to get rid of stuff. Do you know what the irony was? I was going to chuck a load of it in the tip, and that was the day that the UK went into lockdown. So I couldn't even go to the tip. I just had all this stuff in my garage. I'm like, what am I? Can I burn it? What? I need to get rid of it. That was the hardest bit. It's so much of a trauma that I don't really remember. I think it was just a case of I was just putting it in the bin, the wheelie bins, but I couldn't get rid of it all in one go. So it would be a case of how much space have we got this week? Just get rid of a bit more. Rid of a bit more because the lockdown prevented us
in the neighbours' bins.
Yeah, no, even asking them can we put some bits in there and stuff as well. The benefit drawback of because we went into lockdown and it just prolonged our move. Originally we were supposed to be going in maybe the April, and then we didn't end up going until the September. So there was a good chunk of a few months in between, and then we came out of lockdown, and then obviously I was able to get to the tip and stuff. So yeah, it's not easy. I wouldn't do it as
No, that's the thing. And also, allowing for the cost of it as well is quite shocking how much it does actually cost you.
Has the move to Australia changed you as a person at all? Or do you think differently about things now that you're living in Australia?
I think we're proud of what we've gone through, and I think it's probably given us all a bit more confidence, including the kids. So yeah, I think those are the things
that we can actually do something. If you actually put your mind to it, you can do it instead of just being a bit afraid to take the gamble. Just give it a go. What's the worst can happen?
Yeah, and of course you're always proud of your kids, whatever they do, but for them to give up their lives and come to the other side of the world and build new lives with us, you can't ask for more than that.
Even the dog, she's adapted well, and she's loving her garden and the outdoor life, and she's not met a kangaroo yet, so that's going to be interesting.
I don't think dogs really want to meet kangaroos. There's Not really a good mix, is it? Are there any things that you miss at all from living in the UK? When you went back, for example, is there something you went, oh, do you know what? I really miss these.
So there's a big long list, Ross, but I caveat it with, again, it's not enough to make us want to go back or stay.
What's at
Obviously,
the top
number
of the
one
list?
family is number one, followed by.
Your family doesn't make you want to move back. Wow. To be fair, I say that as well.
I didn't mean it like that, but yeah, like if we could bring them here, we would. But yeah, I would say TK Maxx. So TK Maxx is terrible here, and it's way better in the UK, followed by Wagamama's.
Do you miss Wagamama's, Ross? So you can tell us.
I miss the flavour and stuff, but I don't necessarily miss like the service and having to sit on a bench and, you know, your food arrives whenever it arrives and someone's going to scribble on a piece of paper in front of me. But then saying that, I miss Nando's more, but then they have Nando's here. So no, it isn't. It isn't. It looks the same, but you're like, what? Is this like a Nando's rip-off? It's not quite the same. Yeah, I mean, people said to me as well about like Greg's. I really miss a Greg's. I quite like the pies and the sausage rolls here. I prefer the pies, actually. I find the crust just that little bit harder. I prefer it. Yeah, no, I think your Wagamama's would have been my Nando's. But then saying that, how many times have I been to the Nando's that's here? Twice. That's one every 2 years.
Yeah.
We
don't
don't
really need
miss
it.
the country, do we? Like, we don't really miss the UK as such, because it's as soon as you land, it's like, ugh, everyone's miserable. It's a lot smaller, obviously. But
Yeah, I just think the UK has gone to pot, so I'm really glad that we got out when we did.
I think the TikTok algorithms realised that I like watching snippets from the UK because I just sit there and I laugh now.
Yeah.
With everything that goes on, watching the election coverage and everything like that, and I'm just sat there thinking, oh my God, I'm glad I live in a country where at the moment I'm not allowed to vote.
Yes. I think we're grateful that we don't pay taxes there anymore, apart from council tax. But
What's the one? Is there anything that you do now that you live in Australia that you never used to do at all in the UK?
like go to bed earlier, wake up earlier.
yeah, that's weird. That one.
How early do you wake up now in comparison?
Well, you're up.
At 4:30 every morning,
Yeah.
which is tough. Obviously, it's nice and dark. And, during winter when it was cold, it wasn't fun. But yeah,
I've got heated seats in my ute, and I never thought I'd have to use them until winter.
yeah, we did say that when we came over on our recce trip. We met some friends, and we used to watch their games on YouTube, and they were sat there with like blankets and stuff. I'm like, are you mad? It's like you've got blankets on. It's like 18 degrees or whatever. It's like, you're just off your face, you. And then coming over here, it's just like, wow, it is actually cold.
Yeah.
You enjoy your soft comforts.
Yeah, we did. We upgraded our summer duvets to like winter duvets because it did get too cold.
We still keep our summer one, but then in the summer we even we remove the duvet completely and just go to a sheet.
Yeah,
It gets that warm. We even tried using one of those kind of the cooling ones that they have in IKEA. Yeah, they don't cool enough.
Okay.
I think that actually just is now our duvet though. Like that's just the one we use. But I'll give you a tip though for winter. We found it out this year. You know those weighted blankets?
Yeah,
The heavy ones. I tell you what, if you we were finding ourselves quite cold in the evenings overnight. And that's one of the things that we brought from the UK. We had a weighted blanket there. And I said to Sam, I was like, where is it in the cupboard? Because she's going, put the heating on. I'm not putting the heating on. I'm not paying for something when you can just throw another blanket on. And she'd say, but it keeps falling off overnight. And then obviously, ding, 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 in my head, I'm thinking, where's that one that's bloody like stuck to you because it's so heavy? And we shoved it on and it could just about cover both of us. And we woke up the next day and we were like, we weren't cold. We were not cold at all. So straight away, I bought my own one off Amazon. So we've now got one each.
Yeah.
Best investments ever.
Okay, maybe next winter.
Don't scrimp on the quality as well. Don't think I'm just going to get the cheapest one like I did, because now, whilst mine is still a weighted blanket, it's a cheaper one, and I do wish I had the nicer one.
What do you make of IKEA over there? Do you think it's any better than England?
I was never like a super IKEA type of person in the UK, but I think mainly because like we just didn't have as much money. We didn't have as much money to go around and spend things. So buying stuff from IKEA was very much a case of I'm only able to buy kind of what I can afford or what I definitely need. Whereas I earn more here. I just feel, generally speaking, I have more cash to splash, you know, so I got a bit more choice. So I prefer IKEA as a shopping experience. And also having unfamiliarity with Australian shops. Like, I've been here for nearly 4 years. I still feel like I don't really know what that shop or that brand is. I find myself gravitating to the same kind of ones. So I only shop clothing wise from 3 shops. You know, if I need some kind of thing in the house, I just, if IKEA doesn't do it, then I'll have to go somewhere else. But 9 times out of 10, IKEA probably does it. Or Amazon.
Yeah. So what's your favourite Australian shop then, Ross?
Kmart.
Same.
Do you like the way I didn't even have to think about that?
It's just got everything so cheap.
I like as well the feeling of not being into Kmart for a while, so I just like to wander and see what's new.
Yeah.
Didn't see they had one of those.
Oh,
I need 3 now.
That shelf around. Oh, that's different.
Exactly. Best one. And then I'll always have a look in, is there any new t-shirts for me? People always whinge about the quality of Kmart. And yeah, okay, so you're going to buy something that's only going to last you a few months or could last you a couple of years. You'd never really know. If it doesn't last too long, you can always take it back. Not that I'm an advocate for like things like fast fashion, but generally speaking, if the t-shirt itself falls apart or you get holes in it after a couple of years, treat yourself to something new, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not that bad that I'm going to buy it, wear it once and throw it away. But if it deteriorates in condition to the point where, well, it lasted for a couple of years, it only cost me $10. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I normally buy it in the sale anyway.
I think Kmart's great when you come here and you do have to set up from scratch. You know, you can buy all of them things really cheap that are essentials, and yeah, I think it's perfect for that.
Yeah, you feel a bit crazy because you just spent a few $100s maybe in Kmart, but then when you look at kind of what you've got and what you can achieve with that, you're like, that'll do. And then we've still got stuff now, original Kmart stuff from when we got our first rental, and it still works, still going. So yeah, more often than not, it lasts a bit longer than expected. Is there anything that would make you consider wanting to move back? Like, have you ever discussed your genuine, if this happens, we're moving back?
I think we've only discussed that we are not moving back.
Okay.
I don't
So sell the house then.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I feel like because we've got kids and a dog, like if it was just us, I think it would be different. But I don't know, because we've got kids and a dog. I just can't. But it's fine. We have survived 1 year now, and it has been really tough. But I think it's definitely got easier. And I think, I don't know, the first like 9-10 months were really hard financially, but I think then it started, like, you just have to spend so much money when you first get here, like on setting up, and then all the different monies for the visa and all of that sort of stuff. And I think, yeah, it's just got to the point now where we've stopped having to spend so much, and I think it can only get better now.
What does the future hold for Nick and Jody? I mean, how does that work with your visa and your age?
Well, like you said, it's guaranteed pathway to PR, so that's round the corner, I guess. And then it's just plain sailing.
See at the time.
That's it. And it's just spend the rest of my days counting down to retirement.
Is the South Side or is Brisbane the forever place, or would you consider moving?
I think we don't really know anything else now. So, I mean, we love being here and we're happy, and I don't, you've gone through such a massive move in the last 12 months that you don't really feel like moving again for a while.
Yeah, we're definitely start exploring, because obviously we just literally hopped in this place, and it's kind of, the country's big enough to go and have a little look about and see what's going on. Yeah, I think we're pretty happy here. What advice do you have to someone also considering the move, especially someone with older kids on a temporary visa? What would you wish you had known before you'd have moved? It'll be okay.
And talk to your kids, like try and understand what their concerns are, try and put their minds at ease. Like, don't try and just sort of hope it'll go away. Talk to them about, why you're doing it, what's going to be like for the better for them. And I think just open communication, that sort of thing, really.
Thanks, Nick and Jody, for sharing your journey, and I hope it's given you all a greater insight in what it takes to move and live in Australia. If you want to see more of what our journey is like, then make sure to check out our YouTube channel on YouTube at That Johnston Life. And if you want to see more of Nick and Jody's YouTube channel and to see their move from their perspective, you can check them out on YouTube as well at The Great Emigrate. All of the details are down in the description below. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe, because the bigger and larger we get, the more guests we'll be able to get on this podcast and share more valuable insight in what it takes to move here. And don't forget the sponsors of our podcast, TrueBlue Migration Services. And when you mention us, not only do you get a free visa assessment where they'll tell you exactly what you can do to move to Australia, but you also get $200 off your visa. And I'll see you next time.